Welcome back to Dealing Seconds Podcast. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Chris.
I'm Danny.
Guys, we've been gone. I know it's been about a month we've been gone, but guess what? Danny had a lot to do in the past month. He was moving. I mean, if you haven't followed his stories on Instagram, he moved. And look at now, you can finally see the whole beautiful bookcase. Nope, there's still a lot more. Trust me. He just showed me there's a lot more. But we've all had life situations that we always had to get through. And honestly, we're sorry, but we're back. We're going to try to make this more of a regular thing. Even if it's just me on here, maybe with just a guest, because I know Danny has work, John has work, so maybe I'll just do another guest or whatnot. Or if you guys want to jump on, let us know. Yeah. But you know what? It's our first time. It's our first day back, and it's been about a month. So we thought, why not start it off with a little bit of a bang? We're going to have an awesome special guest. We've had, we posted on our Instagram, guess who is going to be our guest today. And, we tried to do a little hint there. A lot of people were missing the mark just slightly. A couple of you actually hit the mark, but we didn't tell you did yet. But you're going to find out.
Here's one final hint.
Mm-hmm.
And it ain't me.
No, and we're not going to say what it is. But if you know,
the best ace of spades I've ever seen.
True, but then again, once you read the title of this video,
you're
gonna know. So, sorry, I spoiled the fun. Maybe I'll
crack some eggs,
or we could crack some eggs. Or should I just change the title and not really put the name of the person in the title?
I don't know. That's up to you.
Maybe we'll add
pretty face.
Barely there, even that. I mean, hey. You never know. We'll figure it out. But you know what? Let's crack some eggs, make some omelets, and let's get this little crazy guy onto the show.
Yeah.
I didn't know this was a roast. I had no idea. I would.
We warned you. We warned you. We warned you earlier. Choke the chicken, spank the monkey, do everything beforehand before you get on here because it's gonna be insane.
You're just joining us.
Yeah, by the way, this is Deryn Lee here as our guest today.
So, Deryn, welcome to the show, man. And by the way, that's everything we were just talking about a second ago is coming into the podcast. Just FYI. Sure. That's a little bit of his thing. But Deryn, thanks for coming on, man. How you been?
I've been okay. We're actually on a break right now. Been super busy for the last 8 months or so. But finally on a break. We're cleaning up house, and that's why I agreed to come on with you guys.
I know it only took a break and no more chickens, none of that to finally get you. And by the way, guys, if you haven't noticed and you're living under a goddamn rock, Deryn actually has a Kickstarter, which will be in the link in the description below, just FYI. New deck out on Kickstarter right now. Honestly, if you are a retro kid like I am and you want to throw back and you want to just have some nostalgia, you want to check this out. And guess who's on the actual deck itself? Those two guys.
Where's Danny? Where's Danny going to be?
I don't. Well, to me, you're under me.
That says a lot, Dan.
Yeah,
that says a lot. That says a. He's
somewhere
there. Yeah, one of those suppositions. One of those suppositions. I mean, hey, Danny over, under, side by side. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. So the campaign itself, it's stalled a little bit, like most campaigns do. I mean, it gets to the point where whether it's funded in 20 minutes or funded in 30 days, it does get a standstill. So we've been at a standstill for a day, but we're more than halfway done. We still got about 26, 27 days, maybe.
Yeah, because
23.
Yeah, we're
23 days.
23 days. You're currently at just over $3,700.
$3,700.
Yep. Yeah, we're recording this on a Monday, August 14th.
On a Monday, August 14th.
Oh my God. What are we going to do?
Sorry.
This is us on a regular basis. This is us anytime we podcast, anytime we talk. I have so much extra fucking footage of shit, just like Danny and I just shooting the shit off camera after we've recorded that I could use, but I never do.
Because I great outtake reel one day when we're never famous.
Did you just tear off your sleeve like friggin' Hulk Hogan or something?
Got an elbow problem, but it's really warm in here, so.
Oh, okay.
It's his arm. It's his arm condom, but it's okay.
Got it.
You gotta wear it when you're wearing this, you know?
What is that? T-Swizzle?
Damn right.
Oh well. Oh well. Oh
How was that
well.
concert anyway? I mean, you keep talking about it.
Well, that should tell you everything you need to know. I haven't even had a chance to start posting stuff because I was moving and stuff. But just real quick, greatest thing I've ever seen.
Very
Ever.
cool, man. Very,
Very
cool.
cool.
And I saw she released that she's gonna redo her old album. Basically, taking the rights back, which is
How punk
typical
rock is
Taylor.
that?
Yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear it. Can't wait to hear it.
Interesting.
Anyway.
I'm not a T Swift fan, so I wouldn't even know.
If you went to it, you probably would end up being one. Well, that's how good it was. So anyway, so back to Darren's campaign. So yes.
So, question, Deryn, what made you want to go from? Because of course you had Royal Regime just before this, and what made you jump from Royal Regime to the '80s deck? Because I'm assuming you're a nostalgia fan, and you were a
I
kid
am.
of the '80s. But
Yes.
what really said, you know what, I have to do this deck now?
I think, well, it was a toss up between it was a conversation between me, Danny, and our friend Lewis. We are all avid Back to the Future fans, like just rabid fans, to the point where we would pick out flaws, if any, or maybe, excuse me, little details that people may have missed the first or second or 30th time they watched it. But I mean, it got to the point where it just a bug in my head, like constantly. So started designing, like I started looking and see, what other decks had 80s themed, and there were quite a few of them, but they seemed to all miss a mark. Like, and I'm not trying to shit on anybody's deck ever, but I saw the Radical 80s deck, which was a good concept. The very first one was Kickstarted too, and they had a cassette box as well. But when you look at, say, like the number cards, it's just one massive digital number in the middle. There were no pips at all. It was a waste. To me, though, it was just like a missed opportunity. So it would literally say 4 spades, and then a big number 4 in the middle, and the standard courts had changes on them, and they would, one of them had like a mohawk, and then had like the what is it, Joy de la Forge, the visor or whatever. Yep. But again, it missed the mark, and the second one was the same thing, but it was just like a pink color, I think it was. It was a recolor. And then I saw one that looked like, I can't remember what it was called. It was kind of simple. I'm not saying it was bad. It was simple. So I decided to do something to where it kind of, I hope I didn't miss any marks or anything, and plus that I wanted to incorporate a lot of you guys into the deck itself. I asked you, Chris, to be a part of it, and I did. I asked a lot of people to be part of it, but they never sent photos for me to use it.
I don't even, if I apologize because I totally forgot.
That's fine. That's fine. You're not the only one that forgot, and I'm not mad about it. But I really want.
I didn't forget.
Yeah, Danny was the first one I designed.
Well, Danny better be like, Danny's like, damn right, I'm the first one.
I've been wanting to be in a deck that Darren designed since Fresh Cuts.
Oh yeah, I forgot about those. Anyway, so
I don't. They're right over here somewhere.
Somewhere.
And then there's a Royal Regime right there, and then the nudes are down here safely away from sunlight and from people's eyes. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow. Wow.
I mean, yeah. So Danny was the first one I designed, and it was a no-brainer. I knew what he was gonna pick, or I knew what he wanted to be. I asked you, Chris, if you forgot, no big deal. I did ask, like, Johnny B. Magic, decks on decks. I'd asked Henry, and people forget. I don't mind that, and but luckily I found 11 other people that wanted to be in the deck with me that were fair game and were really excited about it. So the hard task was to kind of outfit them into being that character, and I didn't want to get any cease and desist letters either.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so I was very careful about it. But I mean, the likeness is there, but it's not a total.
Yeah, Chris, throw up some shit if you can.
I will.
Pictures
So
of the
FYI,
cards,
right
yeah.
now, guys, you will be seeing on screen, if you're watching on YouTube, which you should be, pictures from Darren's deck floating right
'Cause
here.
I love the concept of taking people and then putting
I thought
them
it
in
was,
the
I thought it was freaking
80s
amazing.
outfits just to avoid that
Yeah.
copyright shit.
Yeah.
Just enough. Yeah, and plus, like, one of the ad cards says cast of the '80s, right? And so I didn't want to infringe on that either. So that's Danny McFly, and there's Mr. Twisted, which is Jackson Robinson, King's Wild Project. And I didn't want to say the band's name, so I just said Mr. Twisted, which actually it was gonna be.
I love.
What's
I was
that?
gonna say I love the 2 different colors on the Joker's forum too.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool too. Yeah, it was going to be Twisted Mister, but that was too close.
Very, very
Yeah.
close.
Yeah, so I just put Mr. Twisted, and Char's in there. I asked Lewis to be in it, but he never got around to sending me a photo. I asked quite a few people. The usual suspects, right? But a couple of them came out and did pretty good. I actually, truth be told, I did one for Rich, who is Max Headspace. Max Headspace. He has like this Max Headroom looking card or this feel, but originally he was Uncle Richie from like an Uncle Jesse type thing. He didn't like it. He just I don't know if it was the photo I used of him, but he didn't like the way he looked. I like his facial expression, not the way I did it, but his facial expression. So he ended up taking another picture and sending me that instead, and it worked out. I think it looks better than what it was, definitely.
Well, they all look fantastic. And then like another I know a lot of people are like, oh, you put your friends in your deck, but you know what? Even if you don't know these people, they still look fun, like cartoonish takes on
Yep.
the characters that they're representing.
And it's basically an homage to the '80s. Like, hey,
totally.
like we all
Fashion.
grew up in the '80s. Like, granted, I was born in the '80s. I'm the young one of the group, so technically I'm an '85 baby, but I was grown up in the '90s. But
Right.
all my references are '80s references because the '80s blended into the '90s, into the early part of the '90s. So it's still the same thing. So for me, it was like when I saw the deck, I'm like, oh my god, I have to back this deck.
Thank
It was
you.
it was definitely a deck I was like waiting to hear, hearing rumors like, oh, Darren's putting out another deck soon. Darren's coming up with I'm like, oh shit, what's gonna happen? Because I missed out on the Royal Regime, and then I got one from Henry. And I was like, thank God. And I'm like, and then I bought the Noodles deck, so I have that somewhere in this. It's somewhere in this house. I don't know exactly where, but it's somewhere here.
I've got a bunch of them over there too.
And I was like, you know what? I gotta back this one. I didn't get fresh cuts either. I never got that was the one deck I never got.
Fresh Cuts, they're sitting quietly at Gambler's Warehouse. Out of all of them, I don't have any of the gilded ones. It was one of those rookie mistakes where I put every single gilded deck on the campaign, except for like maybe 5. And then, when I sent them all out, I had 4 or 5 people say, hey, this gilding doesn't look right or whatever. It's kind of flaking off. So I had to, make it right. And so I literally have none to myself. And, a lot
Oof.
a lot of creators will say that, but actually have like
Extra.
yeah, but no, I literally don't. I
Oh,
don't.
damn.
And so whoever has gilded decks, you're
Very
one.
lucky.
I don't have it. Yeah.
Dan's like, yeah, I got me some.
Did
I
you
got
just pop your collar?
He did.
Yes, I did.
He did.
Both.
Okay.
'Cause I have 2.
Cool.
He spent-
My favorite of the fresh cuts though is the private reserve with the red gilding.
Yeah, those are beautiful. I have some of those. I don't have the gilded one of those either. I have the regular ones. So yeah, I don't have any
Wow.
of those.
Well,
Even to the
Danny,
point where like Lewis would ask me if I had any, and I went through my stash, swore I had some, but I don't. I know someone that has like 2 bricks of them, but he's not. He doesn't want to come off of it. So
Damn.
yeah, he invested a pretty good bit with the campaign, and bless him, because he, if it wasn't for him, then it wouldn't have reached the 100 to unlock everything else, and I think the way this new back to the 80s is going, I think it's decently going well.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it to fund in 24 hours. I'm not about that. I'm not about to I'm not big enough to put a $100 funding goal just so I can legally say fund it in seconds.
Yeah.
It's not like that, because if it does fund in seconds and that's all I get, well, I have to shell out some money to.
Yeah.
Right. And it's definitely not about that. I'm not trying to make a name for myself, but I just enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
There was a big, right. There's a big a designer. I was asking him some questions, some advice, and blah blah. He says, "Make what you like. Who cares what everybody else thinks?" And
could that have been Jackson?
Maybe.
I remember years ago watching one of his lives, and he just said, "If you want to make a deck, put it up on Kickstarter for like 10 NPC decks. Boom, deck made. You're a creator now."
I mean, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and definitely taking shots. And I have 2 failed, unsuccessful campaigns. Big deal. Move on. Cry about it later. But, don't cry for long. But yeah, I got advice from Jackson. I got a little bit of advice from who was it? Geo, I think it was Geo for Third Way, a long time ago. And he was just like, be consistent and do what you like. One of the big pieces of advice was from someone who shall remain nameless, and they said, just avoid that one website. That one website that talks shit about every deck ever. I mean,
we need more sites and stuff that unite us. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Cards have to unite somewhere. And people who love cards, but in a good place. Not a rabbit hole that is like 4chan, like going down the rabbit hole. Like no. Yeah,
I mean they should start a website called something like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Anyway, so.
And by the way, we've already talked about this shit so many times, Deryn. Trust us.
Yeah.
We went down the rabbit hole that way.
I'll tell you what. It's a toxic playground over there. Most of the time, the people that are on there, not even most of the time, all the time, that people are on there that are talking shit about everybody else's decks, they're not put one out themselves. They don't want to hear it. They can dish it, but they probably can't take it back.
They're keyboard warriors.
Absolutely.
That's all they are. They will never tell you to your face what they will say behind your back.
Right.
And I've actually had my fair share of that as well. I mean, back when I was a newbie in this community, I mean, Dan's heard this story many times. I had a problem with one of the creators, and I talked shit about this creator on a live once on Instagram. And then the amount of hatred, and it was a big name creator, and the amount of hate I got from all his fans coming at me. And then all I told them all, I responded to every single one. I just said, listen, if you want to talk, let's go on the live. We'll have a discussion. I'm not going to yell. I'm not going to scream. I'm not going to not let you talk. But let's have a discussion. Let's talk it out. Not one of them would join. I was like, then what are you going to say? You're a keyboard warrior.
Right. Danny, you get some hatred from your in session?
Oh yeah, totally. The first one for sure. Yeah. Hi, Miranda. Yeah, totally. Like the one way back, the borderless, the circle's already been done. Like it's a little circle off to the side, and obviously it's based off a folder. Like, come on now.
Right. Yeah, it's to me, when I see, I'm gonna call them kids because I'm a full grown adult. But when I see kids say "ooh orbit," and then say Tally Ho is copying Orbit, I have a
Yeah,
huge problem with that. You know,
yeah,
that's the same type of person that will not accept a $10 bill from the '90s because they think it's fake. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
it's one of those things like they don't know the history and they need to educate themselves. But that's another story in and of itself.
that really is. Well, switching gears now, going back to your deck. So since you
Yeah,
got now, here's a question because I think everybody's thinking this. You guys saying you are huge Back to the Future nerds, huge.
absolutely,
What?
absolutely.
Which one was your favorite and favorite scene from that movie?
Okay,
And this is a question for both of you because I gotta hear this one.
go ahead, Danny.
Okay, well, I'm going to be controversial here. I really like the second one.
Okay.
The most. Okay, which because that's the one I probably rewatch the most. But my favorite scene, I'm not going to pick it from that one. Okay, my favorite scene, just because it was an inside joke to me and a couple of my friends growing up, was the first one where he comes out of the time machine and Marty's talking to him and he goes and he tells him it's run by nuclear power. And he goes, "You telling me this sucker's nuclear?" Okay, that line just fucking comedy killer for me back in the day. So that
Really?
will always be my favorite scene,
Okay,
just for personal reasons. You know,
okay,
that was something we quoted all the time.
okay.
Yeah.
Um, I think it wasn't really a scene, but it was more of a tiny detail that happened. So uh, it was part two. I'm a part two type guy. But it was a scene where the DeLorean had ran over a curb or something, and it took out a tree. It took out a tree. Do you know what I'm talking about, Danny?
Yeah.
Okay. So, but do you know why I'm bringing this up?
Go for it.
Okay, so it took out a tree, and then like a little bit later or whatever, you look at they go to the mall or something like that, and the mall is called Lone Pine Mall. Okay, so but back in number one, that tree was never taken down, and so the mall in number one was called Twin Pines Mall. I thought this it's just little things like that that they paid attention to that really get me, and I'm getting chills just talking about it. It's
Well,
really cool.
wasn't that was the first one complete, right? Because when he went back in time, the first time he ran over the tree
The
that
tree.
ran into the barn,
Yep, that was
and then
one.
when he
Yeah,
came back in the end of the movie to say to try to change history,
right.
the mall had
Comes
changed.
back again. Right,
Yeah, it's
right,
almost the same thing with like the ravine.
right. To me, like I watch it so much, but I mean, let's face it. There's a part of number two that is basically number one, but from a different perspective. You
Yeah.
know, because Marty's basically having an out of body experience, but you know what I mean.
Could you
It's the
imagine
dance,
filming that type of shit back then? How far that had
right?
to been?
I mean, I don't I don't know if they were filming them at the same time with a different camera, like another crew taking cues and just for the footage for number two, or did they piece them together or whatever? But it would make more sense to film the second one at the same time the first one because hey, there's another
Mhm.
story to be told, you know, especially when you know what is it? Now Marty runs out of the door and knocks past Marty in the face, and Biff is like looking through the window, right? So stuff like that. It's just for its time, with special effects and everything. It just they knocked it so far out of the park,
They really
and
did.
they
Yeah.
had ingenious ways of covering things, stuff like that. Um, I did. There is one part in part two where it bugs me. It bugs me because it's a timing thing where they're at Cafe 80s and Biff is outside and the same actor plays, the old Biff, obviously. And old Biff is kind of backing up, but backing up to go outside. And the little, the robot type Biff is outside. You can see him through that frosted glass of the door. And he grabs old Biff by the collar and pulls him out. And then he spins around and gets into the doorway and he says, and when I get back, you better not be here, right? The problem I have with that is that when he spins from the glass, past the door, where it divides the door into the doorway, he disappears for like a split second, and then the actor comes back into frame. So like it's a timing thing, They almost got it, but I noticed it like when it was brand new. That was like what, 88, 88, 89, something like that.
Interesting. It was funny.
Also, Jason Scott Lee is in the movie too. So
it was interesting you say that, because I was actually on TikTok and I saw this video that in part 3, the ending of 3, the boy behind Doc Brown doing something.
yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah,
I
he
never
was,
know.
like, doing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So apparently, what that was, and hearsay, but apparently what that was is he was trying to let the director know that he had to pee. So he was signaling the director
Yeah.
and then pointing. So
Which is something a kid totally would do.
Yeah.
yeah.
Now,
I mean,
that makes more sense, because I'm like, I didn't even know what the hell was going on. I'm just like watching this video on TikTok. I'm like, did this really happen? I was like,
Yeah.
oh shit.
Yeah.
It did. It did.
Yeah. So anyway, when it came to creating the deck itself, I wanted to get like just a hodgepodge, just a smorgasbord of icons from the '80s. Anything that could kind of you can tell who it's supposed to be, without getting a cease and desist letter. But I didn't want two Michael Jacksons, or I didn't want two Madonnas or whatever. But I ended up having two Michael J. Foxes, in the form of Danny and Vince, because Vince is Teen Wolf, But I mean, to me, Teen Wolf
Michael
was
J. Fox is so big.
80s.
In the 80s, he was everything.
Michael J. Fox was the 80s.
right. And there was a couple of other characters that I wanted to do, but then they were so obscure, like not really obscure, but like people are like, who the hell's that? And I didn't want to do that, because after I designed it up, like with Joey Bravo, Joey Bravo was the last one I did, and I told him he needs to send me a photo or else. And so he forgot, or he didn't send it. So I said, fine. I went on to his Facebook account.
Oh no.
And found like the cheesiest smile, like a genuine smile, not like a smile for a camera type thing, but someone caught him in the act of laughing, which is what that photo was. And then I'm like, and then I found like the weirdest hairstyle in 80s history, which was flock of seagulls. So I was like, here you go. And I ended up putting like, the sweater around his neck and everything. So when he saw it, the first thing he said was, dude. It was a great conversation. And he's like, why do you do that? Because
you know what?
I told you.
My first thought was like, he looks like Chandler from Friends dressing like flock of seagulls.
Right. Yep.
Makes sense.
So, but originally, I wanted Joey to be like the counterpart to my character, which would be Bruce Leroy. Right?
I kind of figured you were going to think about that.
Yeah, but when I designed them, my wife's like, "Who the hell's that?" Because it just didn't look like it was supposed to.
It would have been a cool inside joke, but yeah, really, anybody really outside of that little circle would have no idea what you were doing.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, the whole Bruce Lee thing is going to be with him forever, right?
Forever.
But forever. But the Bruce Leroy thing, it was too obscure of a character, because let's face it, Shonuff was like a better character than Bruce Leroy was. If you ever watch that movie again, which I did, it's so stereotypical, just horrible.
I never saw it.
Really?
Yeah, there's a lot of movies, I could say right now. There are a lot of movies you probably will reference that I've never seen.
Yeah, I get it. It's kind of like
The Future.
Which one?
Back to the Future.
Oh, I've seen all three.
Okay, all right.
Weren't there four though? Kidding.
No.
Kidding. I know there's only three. I know. I'm kidding.
Well, I mean, I remember that one episode you had where you were referencing Harry Potter, and Danny's like,
"Oh, Harry Potter, yes." And that's funny. I actually just went to the Harry Potter experience here in New York today.
How was that?
Oh my god, it's nice. It brings you back to like, it has actually like the It has the outfits and all the, everything from the movie and whatnot, and it's cool.
Yeah.
Would I do it again? Probably not. But would I recommend it? Yes.
Okay. Okay.
For whatever they do in the movies.
And
What's
yeah,
drinking on?
Huh?
they drink butterbeer.
What is that? Is that Blue Moon?
Damn right.
I-
Brewed by baseball for
Yeah,
baseball.
I've got a tiny screen. I didn't know if we were allowed to drink beer.
You could
On
do
camera.
you could do whatever you want.
Well, don't you want to get monetized eventually?
No.
Not really. This is more for we do this because we actually enjoy
It's more fun
doing
doing it this way.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
just enjoy doing this. We like to shoot the shit, have fun, and like who cares?
Yeah. Cool. Let's see. I was gonna say something. I forgot.
Okay, so holographic back, right?
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. So I talked to the printing company, and they do holographic, the way they would do Pokemon cards. So it's a holographic stock, that
And then it's
has
printed on.
printed on top of it, and it kind of shines through the colors. And then they have a thing called white block, where apparently it's a full holographic card, but somehow they block the holographic from printing or something, or bleeding onto the border. So the backs are going to be holographic, so you can see that little shimmer through the back. And then I thought about doing the court cards in holographic, like the entire shape of us and the shape in the back of it, but it got to be a little bit more expensive than I wanted it to be. So kind of nixed that idea. But hopefully, if the gilded version is unlocked, then the J card in the audio cassette will be holographic, and the tuck box is holographic as well, like
That-
fully holographic.
That whole thing you do with Carrot Case Creations to do that custom. Oh my god, that thing is.
Yeah.
It is literally
cool.
it's awesome. It's nostalgia, and you know what's hilarious? If you had now
Look
you
at
know
that thing,
no, but
man.
you know what you need. You know what you need to do if you can print it. And I'm just saying this is for future, not now.
Sure.
On the inside, have it written like a handwritten thing, like all the different songs handwritten. Because remember when we used to do recording on radios? We're like, okay, what did we record this
Yeah,
now?
yeah,
Boom,
yeah.
and then you write it on the back of the cassette, so you know
Right.
which songs were on there.
So yeah, this J card would like open up a little bit more.
Yeah, and then you have all your songs written on it.
Right.
Not
Yeah.
saying for this, but I'm just saying in general that was like a cool.
I'm not
idea.
here to like change your ideas and show
No.
your parade here.
No.
Jeez.
No, I think no. Regardless of what I just said,
I
when you-
remember where I was when Deryn FaceTimed me and showed me that and talked about what he was doing, and I
Were you on the toilet
Wow.
taking a shit?
no, it was grocery shopping.
At least if you were, I mean, if you were taking a shit when he showed you that, at least you'd be sitting and you'd be in a good place, you know.
Yeah. Well, actually, yeah, I was so excited to get it. So. I got. No, but seriously, am I focus? No.
No.
I was so excited to get this carrot case, and I was like, "Where the fuck can I go?" And I was like, "Danny." So I texted him first. I'm like, "Hey, you busy? I need to share something." And he called immediately, or I called immediately, and showed him just the carrot case. The fact, because I went through so many channels trying to find a manufacturer for this thing, didn't even think about Sherman, because I just thought he just did what he did, right? And so I even reached out to the guy that did the Radical 80s to see if he can point me in the right direction, blah blah. And he's disappeared. Like I can't find him on social media, anything like that. And so I finally asked Sherman. I was like, "Hey, can you?" And he said, "Let me see what I can do." And he came up with one that was like this, but it was slightly thinner right here. So when you opened it, the deck kind of caught on the inside there when you opened it. And then he's like, "Well, let me try again." He got his team, they made it a little wider, and so now it opens very freely. It's not exactly like an audio cassette, but it does open the way it should. It has that little lip right there. Typically, it had like more of a grip, more of a material that goes on the side right there. But no, I think the functionality of it is what I'm looking for.
Well, you get a cassette case
Yeah,
type thing from Sherman, who's
Yeah,
the best
right.
in the business.
yeah. and it's got the familiar magnets like every other Kara case. And he did it just for me, and it turned out so great. And I just noticed that it's beveled right there where the case stops, so you don't so it's not flush or anything, but it's beveled. I like that touch.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
amazing.
It is, and he said that he wants to offer it to the masses eventually, but out of respect, he's going to wait till the campaign's over before he can offer that. He
Right.
wants. I don't know how long he's gonna wait. Maybe he's gonna wait till after I hopefully order some and send them out. But he does want to make them mass produce them eventually.
Now that one's the edition that's gilded, right?
Yeah. So the idea was obviously the cassette tape, which is going to be the ad card right there. But I don't. Do you guys know about the TV one? So the TV one is essentially the DS one,
Mm-hmm.
but it's tuck box size. It's not the size of that goes outside the tuck box, like the DS. The
I
DS
could
one's
use some of
slightly
those.
bigger, right? So this is just a TB one, tuck box one, DS one, deck sleeve one, right? So this is just big enough to fit the cards. It's literally the tuck box. So we wanted to keep it clear to where we could see the gilding without even opening the box itself.
That's
So
cool.
yeah, so that keeps the cards in place, and then that goes in there. So you'd still see the gilding on
Keeps
the
them in place
outside.
and even safer.
And safer.
One more layer for the gilding
Safer,
not to
right.
be knocked around.
Right, and plus
That's
we're going
awesome.
to yeah, and plus we're going to do like what they call bone holographic seals, where it looks like a bone, like right, a strip in the middle, and then two larger on the side, and we're going to seal it right here, and the edition number is going to be on either side of that, the bigger side of that bone, right? So it'll be 1 of 300, 2 of 300. It's going to be a tiny little sliver of holographic sticker right there across that, but you don't have to cut it to see the gilding, which is
Yep,
which is the
that's
idea. Yeah, that was the idea.
Game changing nonstop.
Mhm.
Look at you, Darren.
I hope so. I hope so.
It's
I mean, I need to
nonstop.
get funded. I need to get funded.
I mean,
yes, yes.
God willing,
Yeah,
God
yeah.
willing. I mean, you still have what 23 days. We were saying you're more than halfway there.
Right.
You know, it can
exciting.
happen.
Yeah.
Seeing that just goes to like, you know, I mean the pricing is fantastic for a holographic back deck. I mean, come on, it's what is it, 9?
It was 9 for early birds. I think
Yeah.
it's 12 for normal.
Still,
Still,
Yeah. Right. And yeah, so I mean, I tried to like that resellers tier was added literally 2 minutes before we launched because I totally forgot about it, and I was on the phone with Westside David, and he said, "You don't have a resellers tier, bro?" And so I put it on there like within a minute of launching, and and no one's taken up on it, but hopefully someone will. You know, at that point you're bypassing the wholesaler, right? And I'm giving you the deck. I think it's like it may work out to be like $6 a deck.
right.
So it's literally like 60% off retail. Um, at that point, right? So
And people need to know that like Murphy's Magic is not backing Kickstarters anymore. They're not pre-ordering decks anymore. So
Right.
if you're gonna get these wholesale, you better hope the wholesaler goes in and buys them, or you
Yeah.
know, I don't know, just a little thing I found out with my last campaign.
mhm. Yeah,
That they were
apparently
not.
they got burned. They got burned on a Kickstarter or two, and
Mhm.
I mean, I understand they have to protect their investment somehow, and by not investing, it's going to be the best way to do it. Buy it after the fact.
Yeah, got
Um,
burned, and then you know the COVID delays where it almost takes a year to get a project printed. Now,
Right.
if you go with the United States Playing Card Company, they said they just couldn't do it anymore.
Which project burned them?
You got to think, huh? I don't know.
I mean,
I'm-
one project comes to mind, but I don't know if it had a reseller's or Murphy's tier on it. I'll have to look.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
With Lewis, he kind of went through all of his backed projects and everything, and he's like, I think he said like over $700 worth of funds that hasn't been delivered, you know, and that's
Yeah,
a lot. That's a
that
lot
is
of
a
money.
lot. Yeah, and that's kind
Um,
of the like the vibe going around right now is like I think a lot of people are hesitant of the Kickstarter thing right now.
Yep.
right. That, and I think the entire community is kind of at a standstill.
Yes.
You're not seeing a lot of. I mean, God, last what 2 3 years ago, people were just churning out one
Hmm.
thing after another, um, and I think everybody got burnt out. You know, uh, apart from the card collectors that that we talk to, we still like the cards for what they are. But I think for the most part, the kids that are spending $15 for a deck that sells out in seconds, and then the creator making us get pre-orders and stuff like that, it just got real bad real quick,
Yeah.
you
It did.
know. And I
Oversaturation.
think Right, and I think that was a snowball effect to towards everybody that was putting out decks, and people just didn't want to deal with anything at all anymore, unless you
Right.
were, the big three, the big four, or whoever it was that had that loyal following, Um, but they invest a lot of time in their decks, not just changing colors, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
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 So I
Yeah.
mean,
Exactly. Like when it like with Fontaine and Missing coming together, like why wouldn't they make more of those available? Because like I don't like either of those companies, but I wanted
right,
that deck. It
right.
looked neat enough, right? And that could have been something that could have maybe brought a little more excitement back into it, but you limit it too much. And
Right.
I get
Yeah.
it.
I mean, when Missing first came out, I mean, I thought it was kind of cool. The concept was, what was it,
Hmm.
audio as a visual or whatever. I thought that was pretty decent, and it was definitely a cardistry deck. So I'm like, okay, I'll get that. And then the next one was a different piece of audio, but a different color. I'm like, okay, I see where they're going with this. But then I think maybe 4 decks in, I kind of slacked off because I'm like, I, this might be going the way of Fontaine, right? Um, but because it took them like 2 years to put out like 4 decks, but still, it felt to me like it was going that way. Um, but then like what last week they released a collaboration with Fontaine, in which I think Fontaine needed that. I
Yeah.
think Fontaine
Yep.
definitely needed that because Missing was becoming a good, a heavy hitter, and Fontaine was kind of losing their popularity. But with the collaboration, I think that was a good decision on Zach's part too.
Yeah, it was a collab that made total sense, like
Yeah.
across the
Right.
board. For someone who's not even into either of those decks, I was like, hmm, I'm interested, but then I'm like, damn it, they still kept it limited.
Yeah, that was a very good decision on both their parts. Kudos to Missing for not listening or not feeling the way we did, as far as burned out on Fontaine, you know, and wanting to work with them.
Yeah.
And then kudos to Zach for saying, "Hey, this will work," and they sold out. And it was a featured deck for Cardistry Con, and good for them. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I have one coming. I think the colors were great. I like the black and pink color. I
Right.
thought that was.
And that's kind of why I was interested. I'm like, oh, this is kind of neat. That'd be neat,
Talk
neat
to,
to,
talk to Henry. He might have one.
yeah. Dude, I bug him so much for shit.
I
You know?
have not bought decks in forever right now.
Really?
Honestly,
Yeah.
only thing
I think the last deck I got in was this just the other day, Luke Wade's
same,
Matrix.
same. I just got it
What is
today.
that?
And, huh? The Matrix. It was a Luke Wade because we're obsessed with him.
Got it. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it was the last thing.
Yeah,
That was
but-
honestly the last thing I got.
Yeah, and then like I picked up this at Target, Stranger Things.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
I mean, I did get this. This will please you, Deryn, because I know how much you love
Whoa.
this creator.
Ah, yes. It's my BFF.
Yeah. So now I have 2 of the 3.
Nice.
So
Oh, you got the 2 towers. Cool. Cool.
yeah. And I just started reading. I just started reading the book, so I was like, ah, screw it.
You've never read the books?
Nope. First time reading them.
Cool. Cool. You'll be disappointed in the movies once you read the books because of how much they left out.
Gotcha.
and it's time constraint, and some of it wasn't as necessary as other parts of the book, but still, it was. I believe that there were certain things that were necessary to talk about, but you know, Peter
Understood.
Jackson didn't think so. You know,
I mean, it happens.
yeah, it
Never
does
seen
happen.
them,
I
never
mean,
read them.
really, you're
Yep.
missing out. They're great.
I know.
They're great. It's just seven
See-
people walk into a volcano.
Yeah.
All three movies.
Yeah.
Even the trees walked.
The camera
It's,
moved.
it's same thing like Harry Potter, you know, you're missing out.
Oh no, I'm not missing out on that at all.
Oh, yes, you are.
No, no.
I'm indifferent with Harry Potter. Like, I've watched them. I'm not a huge fan. I've watched them. I've been to the Wizarding World at Universal. I thought that was neat. Thought that was cool. Diagon Alley. I thought that was pretty cool. You know, to see it live. But it's not like, I don't think I'm a Chris type of fan where it's like I'll quote the movie or anything. You know,
Or wear Harry Potter jammies to bed.
And have a Harry Potter tattoo on his calf.
oh wow, you do.
I actually took the Ace of Spades from Theory 11 when they did the Harry Potter
Yep.
decks. I love the Ace of Spades so much. I actually have that thing on my whole calf.
Wow.
Yeah, I took the whole. I went to the tattoo artist. I was like,
You
"Can
should
you?"
send that to Theory 11, dude.
I tagged them when I got it, but whatever.
Just send it to him weekly.
I should. No, I literally, because originally I was gonna get it like a small, maybe like a 5 inch tattoo, and then
Right.
the artist looks at me. She goes, "You want this where?" I'm like, "On my calf." She goes, "You do realize that your calf is like the size of a medium chicken." Like maybe my calf is the size of like a 5 pound chicken. Not even
Amen.
joking. Yeah. So all of a sudden she's like, "We're gonna have to blow this up." So now she's like, "Okay, we're gonna do the whole calf, the back of your calf." I was like, "How much is it gonna cost me?" She goes, "I quoted you 400 originally for like the 5 inch. I'm not gonna charge you more."
Wow. That's
So she
cool.
so she actually kept it at that. And then the funny thing was, she was like, "It's a lot of line work, as you guys know. That Ace of Spades is a
Yeah.
lot of line work." She goes,
Yeah.
I'm putting on my headphones. I'm gonna be dialed in. So if you need to do anything, just let me know." I'm like, "You know what? I'm putting my headphones on. I have my phone on me. I just laid on the bed, let her do it, and next thing you know,
And
like,
watched Harry Potter.
oh, 100%. And then like 3.5 hours later, she was done. She was like, "You didn't have to move once." I was like, "It hurt. I didn't move, but it hurt. But you told me not to move." I was like, my job is to sit still here or lay still and let you do your job."
Right. What that is it tender back there?
So the funny thing for me is on the outside of my calf, it doesn't hurt. Once you get to the inside of the calf, it does hurt. Same thing like this tattoo. This tattoo here doesn't hurt. Here hurts like a
Yeah.
bitch.
Yeah, yeah.
Anything
Yeah,
anything
that's
near
why-
anything near the armpit sucks.
Yeah. That's why I haven't gotten anything on my tricep
The
or on my
the,
ribs.
the sides of the arms, not a problem. Sides of this does not hurt at all. At all. This did not hurt at all. But it just here hurt like a bitch.
The unexposed.
Oh my god, it's like the weirdest feeling ever. And you're like sitting there, and it's not even the shading wasn't the part that was hurting me. It was actually this outline of everything, like the single outline. And I was like, and I was like literally gripping, like death gripping something, so I could not. Because if I would have choked something, I would have been black and blue and dead by the time I was done with it.
One of my chickens.
Eh.
Yeah, I was wondering why you were like a medium-sized chicken size. Like
I was going.
weird.
I was going for
It's
it.
a weird thing to.
I was trying to give a conceptually what Deryn could understand size wise.
I mean, okay, that's what she said. But, dude, I've been dropping "That's what she said" all day. My wife hates me right now.
This is what we do. This is what we do
know-
on a constant basis.
Yeah,
You should see our text message thread on Instagram. All it is
that's
is
all it is. Every other word.
that's what she said.
Yeah.
Everything.
Danny's very good at that. He's very good at picking those jokes out.
Yep.
To the point where he had me laughing the entire time we were in Vegas. I don't even know what we were talking about. He just dropped them better than Michael Scott could ever.
You know, I do it so much. My work bought me a button that'll say it for me. At work.
Awesome. I know someone that got an easy button from Staples, and changed the recording to that's what she said. So it's on his desk. So every time someone says something,
Yeah.
he'll hit the button.
Oh my god, if I ever did that, oh my god, my girlfriend would kill me if I ever did that.
Well, let's
How long
segue
you guys
into
been
the
together?
sun. What?
How long
Us?
have you guys?
Or
No, the girl and Chris.
Oh, I mean, we've only been dating since May 1st.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It seems to be going very well.
No complaints here whatsoever,
do
that's for
this,
sure.
Chris. Look at her and go, how's our relationship going?
She's asleep.
That's all you need to know.
Yeah, it's boring. I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that I could do that and my bed's right there because I live in a small studio apartment in New York says a lot.
Yeah. My wife wants to say hi, doesn't she? Hi. That's all you get. That's all you get. She's done for the
Well,
night. She just.
I just want to segue into something else that Deryn is also known for.
Ah,
Oh God, that.
Impossible
I
bottles.
forgot about those.
The bottles?
I haven't done a bottle in about 3 weeks. And I used to do it like pretty often.
All the time.
Yeah.
Or like this one with the resin.
That one was one of my favorites. Like that was a very, very decent a different experiment. When Nick and I brainstormed on the hydrogen one. Was it hydrogen? No, it was oxygen. It was oxygen. It was one of the two. But we were trying to find Erlenmeyer flasks. Is that what it is? Erlenmeyer? The little foam triangular
Bunsen burner type things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we just couldn't find one that fit the deck. It went from like couldn't fit until like way too big. Like there was no in between when it came to the sizes on that.
That would
And
have
that's
been cool
just-
though.
Yeah, that was a science thing. They just didn't need in between that small one and that large one. I have a prototype in my storage room with that oxygen. No, it was I think it was oxygen. Yeah, it was blue, just like that one. But anyway, we have it in there, and it's just the reason the resin was thought of was because that flask was so big that the deck would lay down on it inside it. So I kept it face up, or standing up, and then poured the resin just to keep it from falling over. So that's why the resin was in play, and then we decided to keep it in the bottles itself. But that was unfortunate because we wanted to find one that was just big enough for the deck, and we never found it. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist.
Man, that would have been cool.
That would have been awesome. That would have been awesome.
Right.
And that's another creator we haven't heard from in a while. I mean, granted, he's a teacher and he does a lot of stuff on the side, but we haven't heard from him.
He moved
Yeah.
and all that stuff.
Yeah. I spoke to him briefly, maybe 2 weeks ago. And I haven't talked to him in so long. I didn't realize how long I haven't talked to him. But I was like, "Hey, Nick, how's the baby?" He goes, "Good. 3 years old."
Jeez.
And like the last time I heard, wife just had the baby, And so I haven't talked to him in so long, but apparently he's just been busy with school and stuff like that. I don't know if he's working on anything. The conversation didn't last too long, but
We talked a month or two ago. I forget why. And then I think he is slowly working on something, but I don't think there's any timeline.
Okay.
Which is probably a good thing for him right now. Just kind of wait.
Right. Yeah. Hopefully, if my campaign funds, then we'll move on to the sequel immediately. I'm already kind of, starting to design the courts for the next one, which would be Danny.
2000s. Aughts?
Bless you, child. No, the next decade. Come on.
70s?
Oh.
No, it's the.
Yeah, what if you
90s.
went backwards?
No, the plan is to eventually go
The
back.
Roaring 20 deck would be cool.
Now imagine drawing someone as like all the mumble rappers now in like the 2010s.
No, thank you.
The Migos. Imagine doing 3 people as the Migos. That would be hilarious.
Absolutely not.
But if you get to the 2000s, you have to draw Danny as Taylor Swift.
No, Britney Spears.
Before or
From the
after?
Toxic video.
Before or after she shaved her head?
The Toxic video.
During
During
the head
during
shave.
Danny could do that. He since he's already losing hair up there, just
no one Deryn, he would torture me in the 90s deck and put me as Kurt Cobain because I hate him so much.
Hey, I did not know that.
Yeah, absolutely hate him.
now you know.
You know when you shoot trash, and you people usually yell Kobe, you go Kurt Cobain because he never missed. You know.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Okay, apparently this is all things go. You know, no holds barred.
We warned you about this podcast, Aaron. We even said in our text message thread that there's nothing off limits on this podcast, and we truly mean it.
I'm trying to be PG.
No,
I'm trying to be PC.
No, we are neither here.
Well, okay, I get it. I've watched your show. I've watched the podcast. For me, though, it's more of when it comes to social media and
of course,
public spaces and stuff like that. I try not to leave my opinion.
More neutrality than anything else.
Right, I'll joke. My stories are most of the time jokes and all that, but I try not to offend anybody, but that's virtually impossible nowadays.
True.
But still, you try to be PG and PC as much as possible, right?
True.
But yeah, so that's what I'm doing now. There's a lot of things that I've not wanted to say. I've not said, but I've wanted to say in the last however long we've been talking. But it's okay. It's okay. Well, I'll message you guys later. Hey, remember that time?
Yeah. By the way,
Just wants to get blocked by as many people as he possibly can.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I made the all-time block list though.
He did. It took him a good 2 years to get it, but he got it.
Took me 2 years, but I got it.
Was it a Fulton block?
Exactamundo.
Yep.
I got blocked because I went off on him. That was the guy, by the way, who I went off on. That his fanboys and jock writers were coming at me. That was him. And then I finally said something about his last deck, and I was like, "Oh, I said something. I forgot what the hell I said, but really pissed them off, and they completely blocked me." I was like, fuck it.
He used to be really cool. Like, his decks used to be great to me. You know, the last one I bought, I think it was the arcade, but only because I wanted to see if it was in fact just ripped from Nintendo, you know, and it was.
Yeah.
You know, it was. there was no pixel that was changed. It was the exact same thing. But I mean, back when he was doing, the Fulton Casino and the recolors, that was great. That was great. And I talked to him and I was like, hey, because he was selling $300 bricks at the time, because he had, at the time, he had like 12 different decks at least. And he was going to offer one of each deck in this brick, and for $300. I'm like, cool, let me get one. And I was like, do me a favor and sign the decks for me. And he unwrapped them and signed every single one of them for me. And thank you for that. I really do. And I thanked him. And then when the next deck came out, I asked him if hey, could you sign that one too? And send it to me. And he's like, we've got something special planned. Okay. And come to find out, they had made up this artist proof thing.
That's about where, yeah.
Right. He started to capitalize on his signature from his fans, and I'm like, bro, what's going on? And that's when I started kind of digging into the whole fallacy of artist proofs and the false rarities of our little community. And artist proofs, bro, USPC does not print a trial run. if you're printing with them, you're printing 1,000 at least. You know, uh, just because you're numbering them 1 through 52 does not make it an artist proof. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, you're just straight lying to people. So, and I don't, I don't agree with it, and that's when I unfollowed him. It's just
That's about the time he lost me too.
right. It's a business practice that shouldn't be practiced. You're flat out lying to your fans, uh, that look up to you. I looked
Yeah.
up to him. I'm like, cool. I need to start doing something like this because I got a few ideas up here, you know. But it got to the point where it's like every single one was artist proof this and different tuck seal that. It got crazy. I mean, he just yeah.
I mean, that was also the time that he literally got with Dan and Dave, and he was like riding their coattails also.
Right. I mean, he's been friends with them for years. I don't. No one denies that because he has photo evidence of it. You know.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, he did very well. He did very well. But again, I think we just got collector fatigued.
Yep.
Over the last 2 or 3 years, and he came out with what 6, 7 decks in 1 year, something like that. I don't know. My numbers aren't accurate, but
Right.
still, there was a lot. There was a lot, and people are like, "Bro, give us a break. Let us miss you
Yeah.
for a little bit." You
That's
know?
why.
And-
That's why I kind of like Chris Ramsey and Orbit, where you get you get a couple a year, maybe,
Yeah.
but like the main
Yeah.
edition, you might get every other year. Chris
Right.
Ramsey, you get one once a year, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. And I was just about to say Orbit too. Chris Brown is and what's great about Chris is that he sticks to his design, uh, the main element obviously, but he changes the design around it. You know, it's not just a different color. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
was it any? It was I think the only thing close to that to a circle in a different color. Danny, you might help me out because you probably opened more Orbit decks than me, but the most solid color I've seen on an Orbit deck was like the last Christmas one. You know,
Or the
That
red
was-
one.
Yeah, that was probably the
Well,
most solid.
The green one.
This one.
Well, yeah, okay. See, I don't have that one. I don't have that
Yeah.
one. But that was on purpose. That was on purpose, for purpose.
Right.
But
I do have one issue with this, but I don't call him out on it because in my book he's allowed one faux pas. Okay.
okay.
Because
Yeah.
all he's done. All right. And all I'll say is that's
Okay.
it. You know. Anyway,
Right.
I don't want to get into
Well,
it. But
I
I mean, but as far as the other stuff, let me look here. Yeah,
Because Danny has the complete Orbit collection.
yeah,
I know.
I'd say that Christmas one is pretty straight up just red.
Red and a wreath. I think
Yep.
a red and a wreath, yeah. But which is clever because hey, yeah, that's his.
And, you know,
That's
I'll give it to
green.
him when I met him a couple years ago at the Orbit Jam. And, you know, he released the Cardistry Con V1, which is just a basically a reprint update of the V1, right? So people can get their hands on the blue one. He said he was going to do that for every version with Cardistry Con. Obviously, he changed his mind, which is probably a good thing. But
Right.
you know, I was kind of looking forward to that. But now it looks like we're getting all the minis in the all colorways now instead.
I mean, with what is that called? Chroma? Is that what it's called? Chroma,
Yeah.
something like that. At least that's not what he's doing all the time. Like
Right.
it's
Yeah.
the color is
Yeah.
not pink next time, and there's actual space, and he's really taken this space thing, and ran with it, and it's great. Didn't he have one that had like a DeLorean, like flying across something like that?
The Christmas-
My favorite
arm's
Orbit
reach.
deck ever.
Oh.
Within arm's reach. Let me see the DeLorean. I forgot which one it was. That's the
I think it's on
parallel,
the
right?
logo. It's on the logo. I don't know if it'll show because I don't have a light right next to
That's
to
right.
it.
Okay. Yeah.
It's right
Yeah.
there. Oh, you know what? There you go.
There it is. There it is. Yep. Which
Oh,
is,
by the
I mean,
way, one of the best Ace of Spades ever designed, in my opinion.
hey, look at that. There's there's that roller coaster signature in there, the
Yep.
loop de loop. I think Dick calls it a loop de loop.
Yeah.
Johnny texted me one time, and he goes he was moving or something like that, or moving a TV or something, and he dropped the HDMI cord, and he said that looked just like my signature.
Yep. Yeah, I think he posted it on a story or something.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That is
I
awesome.
worked so hard on it to get that signature, but whatever. It's a joke now.
But yeah, so just those two creators are I think found the perfect sweet spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have, well, as far as going back to Orbit, they have like the set look, and he's not changing colors, and he's actually redesigning around it. Um, that keeps it interesting. If he were to come out with foil this and foil that and throwing darts at a color palette, that's where people will lose interest. I've made
Yep.
fun of Zach plenty of times on my stories. He doesn't see him, whatever. But it's like I'm not the only one that thinks that way. I'm not the only one that I've said a lot of
Didn't
people
he
agree.
didn't he just pretty much acknowledge that in his post last week?
He did,
He did.
and good on him for acknowledging that. It it takes a lot to admit it too, especially to what 20, 30,000 followers that he has. I forget how many, but it takes a lot for someone to admit that he did too much. And he knows it. But he was riding the wave. I get it, but it's like, again, dude, let us miss you for a little bit, maybe 4 or 5
Yeah.
months, because in 6 months we would have thought it was a year, and finally you're releasing another deck. But no, I think 1 year was like 22 different decks
Yeah.
in 1 year.
Yeah. Those blind decks got him. I
It
think.
did.
Like I thought the Fontaine Futures were perfect.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right. And then I think he got a little too carried away with it.
Yeah, I mean, blind decks, mystery decks, whatever you want to call it, it's a way to offload anything that you think that won't sell, or
Right.
that won't sell at all. I mean, or hasn't sold as fast as the popular ones. I mean, Art of Play does it every year, which is actually pretty fun. That in my entire
That's why I don't buy Art of Play decks all year long.
right, because you're gonna get a great deal at the end of the year.
Yep.
You might not get it, but you can get a great deal on the other decks that you otherwise would have passed on, and you're like, hey, that's not a bad deck.
Yeah, I found quite a few decks that way. Yeah.
Right. Like for me, I found, what was it? Like the ramen heads one. I thought the artwork was great on that. It was very, very abstract almost, but I thought it was great. And I found one, which is great. But yeah, Art of Play. If you've ever been to the warehouse, I went there in 2020. They have so much stuff, like a lot of stuff. And if that's one way of doing it, more power to you. But at least they're not, trying to sell you a different version of a series and trying to get rid of them immediately. This is like a year-end clearance type thing. It's totally different, in my opinion. It's totally different. So,
and it gets a lot of the community going, like, ooh, what I get, like,
right.
it's kind of fun.
And that's why Joey and I have our annual unboxing.
Yep.
And we were on year 5 this past Christmas, which it blows my mind that we were on year 5. I met him because of a King's Wild discussion back in 2017, I think it was 2018 something. But yeah, he I forgot what we were talking about. Does that happen a lot here?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh God, yes.
Just rabbit holes.
Oh my God, we go rabbit holes, and then the funniest thing is we always talk about food.
Do you?
Oh, Deryn, how you want to talk food?
Well, I just had hot pot second time this last week.
Oh,
Oh, you
wow,
just
really?
Yep.
Hot Pot's great. See, Danny, we went to Hot Pot in Vegas. Danny didn't go, but
Nope.
we went to Hot Pot in Vegas. It was after a day of card hunting. It was me, Danny,
walking.
and Char. A lot of
In the hot
walking, but
Vegas
we
sun.
rode the tram. We rode
Yeah.
the monorail because we would have died if we
Oh,
didn't buy
God.
a ticket to the monorail, right? Then true story, like I put my ticket in to get through the gate and fucker ate my ticket. I'm like, so I'm stuck at the gate. I had to go to the guy. He was like, "When did you buy it?" I was like, 10 minutes ago. 10 minutes ago, he gave me that ticket. But so Danny was pretty exhausted after that, I assume. So he didn't
Yep.
join us for hot pot. But that's when we went out and met Vin's.
And that's the one regret I had was missing out on meeting
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, I can't. I don't remember. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Chulabol or something like that. But he is the nicest kid. And congratulations, he just had a baby. Like he and his girlfriend just had a baby.
Ooh, congrats.
Yeah, so he's the sweetest kid. And when I asked him to be in this '80s deck, he sent me like this long this long note, like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you're asking me, and I would love to. It's an honor, blah blah." And then he didn't see his card until I posted it on Instagram, and he flipped the hell out.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. Like Danny, I think Danny and maybe David were the only two that saw their cards first before anybody else. Other than that, everybody saw them for the first time when they posted them. And
Nice.
I nailed his card. It looked perfect.
Yeah, you did.
Because he had a baby face, and I was like, tingle, why not? But yeah, he's such a grateful kid. He's grateful for what he has, what he's working for, and everything. Hard worker, and I can't say enough nice things about him. He's such cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is
But
awesome.
besides that, when we were in Vegas, we ate really good.
Oh yeah, that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had
Food.
hot pot. We had hot pot, and it was great. It was great.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did hop out here. I took my cousins out. There's a awesome because I live in Flushing in Queens, and where I live is like I'm literally set in between Chinatown, a real good Chinatown, and Koreatown. So I have the melting pot of both. And literally, I was like, the first time I went with my girlfriend. We went. We're like, oh, let's try hot pot. Why not? I ended up getting like the medium spice for the broth. Holy shit, was that fucking burning? And I love spicy food.
Okay.
I love spicy food. And all of a sudden, I took my cousins to the same place. I got mild this time. I don't think I got mild. I think I got medium again because that shit was hot, and I loved it. I loved it. Yeah, spicy,
Yeah.
spicy, and I can handle some spice now.
Is it just hot pot?
No, you have hot pot. There's food there as well, but it's predominantly just a hot pot place. But there's also so many other Chinese, Asian restaurants here that it's insane. Like I don't even go into them because a lot of times you have to speak either the language, and I'm like, I don't, and I would love to try the food, but I know I'm going to be a language barrier, so I choose not to go in. I'm like,
Okay, it's a little intimidating. I get it. Here because I'm smack dab in the middle of Atlanta and Chattanooga. So Chattanooga's an hour north, Atlanta's an hour south. We go to a place in Atlanta called K-Pot, and it's Korean barbecue and hot pot at the same time. So my wife loves hot pot, so she can do without the grill. She's fine without the grill. She loves her soups, her vegetables and stuff like that. So we go there for that. So much so that I've made friends with the owner, and every time we go in there, he gives me a bottle of soju on the house and a 10% discount. So I keep telling him, you don't have to, And he's like, no, we like that you're here and stuff like that. But that's the only way we get hot pot. There are places that do strictly hot pot, but it's intimidating because I'm not sure, there's so much, like there's so many different selections that you can choose from, and I'm like, we don't need all that. We just and it's mostly like organ meats and stuff like that, which is fine. But it's like we don't know. We don't know what that is, and we're kind of hesitant to try it. But we just go to K-Pot and they have all the good stuff.
nice. Yeah.
About an hour and a half just to eat.
Hey, why not?
I live in a very remote location because I have 16,000 square feet times 4 of chickens and stuff like that. They don't want you to have it close to the city.
Yeah.
You'd have to go down like 8 dirt roads to have something like that. So anywhere we go, like a Walmart is about a half hour away. The gas station is like a 10-mile drive. So if we ever run out of gas, it's purely because we're trying to get to the gas station.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but it's quiet. It is quiet. I let
I
my
bet.
dogs out at midnight, and then I'm like yelling their name, Bosley, Bailey, and I'm like yelling on top of my lungs, and no neighbors at all, which is great. Which is great. I'm loving that. I can sing all night on karaoke, you know.
Nobody will bother you.
No one to bother me. Nope. And my sister called me the other day. She's like, "You need to go. You need to go. Make friends with the neighbors because they'll look out for you." I'm like, oh, what? What? No. My neighbor waved at me. I'm ready to move.
Yeah.
It's like, so no, I'm fine. We're
Shit,
fine.
my neighbor could hear me through a wall.
Then say Chris is like the exact opposite of your situation.
Yeah, I mean, I lived in Florida for a while, and the houses there are literally like maybe two passes of a push mower apart, and it's I'm glad to be away from that. I don't like it when we're
See,
living on top
I
of
wouldn't
people.
I wouldn't even mind that. I live on top of people here.
Yeah.
I live
To
on
us,
yeah. I'm on the floor with 7 other apartments on one floor by itself.
wow.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah,
the
but
rent
you get
like
you.
in New York?
Yeah. What's your rent there, Chris?
I mean, I've always heard, but I don't know
So
firsthand.
my rent for my studio is it's $15.50 a month.
Gosh, really?
Yeah, and I have a
And
studio.
And you're not even renting to own it.
Nope.
That's just the
Pure
privilege
rent.
to live there.
Yep, pure rent.
Not
He gets to ride past Met Stadium every day.
Crappy
Okay.
crappy team, but whatever.
What? No. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm right down the street from Truist Park. Yeah, Truist Park. Uh, yeah, and we went to watch my first K-pop concert back in July. It was great. It was fantastic.
BTS.
It was twice. 9 girl group twice. They're great. I'm not a huge fan of Twice, but I wanted to go because it would be my first concert. And plus, my niece was going. She wanted me to go, and then my wife's friend's son was going. I had a good time. I had a really good time. The main concert I want to go to is on the 25th. That's another K-pop group, which is my favorite currently. They're called aespa, and they're gonna be a theater. Like it's gonna be a smaller venue, but it's a theater where
No
like they have.
ballpark this time.
No, God, I was sweating my balls off, dude. It was so hot. Gosh, like we couldn't find the entrance because everybody was going every which way, and there were certain entrances for certain sides of the stadium.
Jeez.
So we had to figure out where our seats were, and then we had to walk to that entrance, and it was crazy, man. But we had good seats. I mean, on the seating map, it looked like we would not see anything, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. But yeah. Anyway, let's talk about cards.
No more K-pop. No more K-pop and
no
hot
more
pot.
K-pop? No.
Oh my God.
K-pop. Weird.
No, yeah, this is what normally happens on a podcast. We'll talk shit for like 30, 40 minutes about something else and be like, all right, we should talk about cards. That's I mean,
Well,
kind of.
here, let's do this. Like, bring it full circle. Truist Park, for those who don't know, is the home of the Atlanta Braves. Okay, which is my second favorite baseball team. Okay, then you have this, what I got from a local guy. It is a cut,
Oh, yeah.
hard cut.
Legal tender?
Okay, this is my favorite
Oh,
Oakland
no.
player who was.
It looked like legal tender for a second.
Nope. He was traded to Atlanta. This is why Atlanta's my second favorite team. And
Got
this
it.
local guy here in Oakland did this. This nice little case. Pretty cool. So there you go.
I wonder
Hard.
if there's a market for that.
I don't know. I mean, he does. I'll send you his page because he does some pretty crazy stuff, like not
Right.
just sports.
Right. I figured if you were to buy a box of baseball cards,
Mhm.
you'd be hard pressed to find the same one multiple times.
Right.
You'd probably find 2 or 3 of them, right? Depending on how many players are in there. But to make a cut like that and put it in one of those graded type cases,
Yep.
that might be an untapped. It actually is an untapped market.
I know he's starting to get some traction.
You buy
See, his
singles.
thing is he's mainly on Twitter, so
Okay.
you know,
You can buy
selling shit on
singles.
Twitter is not quite like it is on Instagram. So
Would he cut singles? I mean, would that look good?
No, you could buy singles. Like you could buy multiple
Oh
singles.
yeah, you're right. You're
yeah,
right.
And if he's
But
doing
yeah,
like,
you can Baseball cards aren't expensive. Even like the rare ones are like $5.
like, dude, I just saw
not like my shit. Fuck.
my algorithm on my YouTube was like showing me all these collecting things because I'm watching like coin collecting and stuff like that. You know, that's my new hobby. Is
I've
coin
noticed.
hunting, not
Yeah.
collecting. I'm hunting. I'm not trying to keep anything. I'm trying to flip it for money. It's a free hobby. If you haven't realized, it's a free hobby. You I mean I invested in like this digital microscope and a coin roll counter and some coin rolls. But literally, I take $25 to the bank. They give me $25 in pennies. I look through it. If I don't find what I'm looking for, I take that money, put it back in the bank. You know, it's a free hobby. You know,
Yeah.
I deposited $1,000 worth of 20s today at the bank, and then I went right to the ATM right outside and took it back out again because I'm looking for specific numbers or sequential numbers and brand new bills, and I didn't find any, so I went back into the bank and put it back in. You know, so it's a free hobby. It passes the time. It's tedious, but I found a couple of gems. But no, back to the sports cards. They're getting ridiculous now. Like cards are like that thick, and they're
Yeah.
like one of a kind with a piece of the jersey signed by the person, and it's like, and just the booster pack itself was, I said booster pack, just the pack itself was like $600 or whatever, you know, just to try to find these things. That's crazy. I mean, they had to do something to up their game a little bit, right?
Yeah, because
Yeah, I mean, those thick ones look nice, but like, yeah, because I was looking into it, I'm like, that's nope.
I mean,
that's too expensive.
I mean, baseball card collecting. I mean, granted, it's always been around. It's going to be around. We all know this. But compared to games like Pokemon or Magic the Gathering or Yu-Gi-Oh, you know, you're not going out there looking for cards of like one particular player, multiple
Right.
cards of it. You know,
Right.
unless you're doing like a cut. What?
Depends.
Which
I'll give you
player-
an example. There's a rookie from the Cincinnati Reds that came up and just wowed everybody. So his rookie card was the thing to find. And you wanted
Was that the
multiples
one that hit
because-
the home run on his first swing?
Yeah.
First at bat?
Yeah.
God,
He even declined to
I
be in
heard-
the All-Star game because he's like, I'm too new. I'm focused on my team right now.
Right. Yeah, I heard about him yesterday.
Yeah.
I watched Inside Edition, not yesterday, Friday, something like that. No, or maybe. Anyway, it was pretty recent. But I watch Inside Edition religiously. It's such a trash show, but it's entertaining to me. And they were talking about how his first at bat he hit a home run, and you know, and like they didn't want him at first, something like that. It was a better story that I'm telling you, but it was pretty cool to see that.
Yeah, and I think one game a couple weeks ago he stole second, third, and home back to back.
That's crazy.
Yeah, kid's fast. He's tall. He's fast. He doesn't have an ego yet that we know of. But yeah, he was like he saved the entire team's season, so that's why he's kind of.
Right.
I see people on TikTok just buying packs just to find his card so they can flip it.
Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
Like,
every hobby has that shit though.
Yeah.
Right. I remember back in the 90s when we were in junior high, my buddy's dad had tickets to a Braves game. And we went, and just like a kid, we're hanging over the railing when the players are walking by, you know, sign this, and our hero was David Justice, you know, and so he comes walking by, I have my autograph book and reaching over the railing, and my friend does too, and the asshole comes by, just hits it out of our hand. Our pens and our notebooks go flying, and it's not like he lost. It's not like they lost or anything. He was just done with the day or something like that, and that broke our hearts. You know, like our hero acting like that. I mean, dude, I mean, I get that you're talented, but your popularity is literally crowdsourced. You know, popularity is literally crowdsourced, and the fact that you don't want any recognition conflicts what you do for a living. You know, it's like the fans are there. It's hand in hand type thing. You know, like if I remember Kim Kardashian was talking about, she wishes paparazzi would leave her alone because she's just trying to, live her life, blah blah. But if paparazzi stopped doing that, she's probably going to wonder why they're not following her anymore.
Yeah.
That's just the ego she has on her.
It's a catch-22.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, but you build that type of life for yourself, but you don't want the attention. I don't get that. I don't get that at all. That's ridiculous. But anyway, I digress.
We've been digressing for about an hour now.
Oh yeah, if you're just joining us.
Right.
Anyway, so it's been about an hour. This is where we usually wrap it up. It's been an awesome time talking with you, Deryn. By the way, guys, again, Darren's link to the Kickstarter will be down in the all description below. Go click all the links. His Instagram will be all there the whole night. I'll figure out that whole thing. I'll try to figure that out. I'll try to remember how to edit. I don't remember how much often. Whatever. I'll figure it out. But Deryn,
It's only been a month.
Yeah, but then I'm the one that does all the editing.
This is my favorite part. I don't have to do anything. I just show up and talk.
Just shows up and talks.
This is what happens all the time with everybody. Show up, talk. Chris, take care of the rest. Okay, fine.
Yes. We need
So
the
guys-
greatest hit.
Decades.
Guys,
We need the carrot case that comes.
if
like
you
a
cannot-
cassette case.
guys, if you cannot back the Kickstarter for Deryn, please give it a little share it on your Instagram. Every little thing helps. Every little bit counts.
Absolutely.
You never know. You might have a friend that's not in the community that might like the deck.
He will fulfill the goddamn project.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
He will follow
hope
through.
so.
Yes.
Every
Yes.
campaign he's done, he has. Okay. Henry's shipping this, right?
Yes, Henry is shipping it. I'm 60% with my Kickstarter, by the way.
No, I meant
Henry
all
is-
the ones that you've funded, you've delivered.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's been a couple stragglers that didn't get it, but it's not like I didn't make it right.
Right.
But yeah, if this thing gets funded, we're rolling into the 90s, which is going to be called Saved by the 90s. We're trying to keep the wordplay. Back to the Saved by the, stuff like that. And then if that is successful, then we are going back in time and we're going all in the 70s. So hopefully,
nice.
I can't think of any more movies or shows that carry that of the to the by the, maybe Last of the Night. No, that won't work. But anyway, that's the idea. We're not going to go past. We're planning on not going past 3 volumes, but I might have a great idea for the 50s. Who knows? You know?
Yeah, you never know. But I mean,
Right.
you should go and back this goddamn project so we can
Back
get
it.
it funded. I mean, he's what 60%, 67% of the way there.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. We're almost there. The stretch goal is 7,000. I get it, but if need be to get that last boost, if I'm not at 100% by the last week or whatever, then yeah, I'm probably just gonna release that. But I'm not sure yet. Maybe it's just
Be careful. I did that with sophomore year, and man, did it bite me in the ass.
I mean, that bit me in the ass on New Year's. I took the advice from Doc at the time, who I haven't heard from in a while either. But he was like, you're like $600 away. I think a gilded deck will put you over. And it did, but that gilder, you know what I'm talking about. They charge a lot. They charge a lot.
Yep.
They're even more expensive now, which I understand now why people would charge $45, $50 for a deck of gilding, because the cost is definitely there, and it's not just the cost of gilding; it's the cost of sending the decks there, because it's $3, 3 pounds a brick basically, sending them there, getting them gilded, and then getting them back to you. I mean, the cost is definitely there,
Yeah.
But the gilder that I have now is all in one shop. Like the printer is the gilder, so everything is happening there
Good.
before Henry even gets it. So that's going to save us a lot time. So the only thing that's making this premium, along with the gilding, is the carrot case itself. Um, you're gonna get a carrot case to protect your deck. So
I mean, that's awesome. Like, you get a carry case, just that tape,
yeah,
and there you go. You just put that on display. You
Love
don't
it.
need to get another thing to
Nope.
protect it.
All done.
how does
You know what I mean? I think that's just perfect.
that not scream, road trip,
Yeah.
or
All you
late
need
nights?
all you need now is a pencil. And everybody who grew up in the 80s and or in the 90s and used cassettes knows what a pencil helps.
Yep.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
called rewind,
Yep.
children. Rewind.
Be kind.
You see these
Rewind.
forearms? It's from rewinding tape.
No, he,
Yeah.
he does other things that in that motion too. That's what she said.
Okay, cool.
Okay,
On that
yeah.
note.
On that note,
Anyway, so yeah, help you help out, fund the deck, help fund. If you don't like them, share with somebody.
exactly. It never hurts to share. It's a free sharing is free. If you could back it, even better.
Sharing
Daryn.
is caring.
Exactly.
Sharing is caring. Yeah,
On that
You
note,
should have had a
Daryn,
Care Bear as one of your courts.
my little puppies here. Where have you been?
or my Little Pony,
My little pony, my little pony.
or what was the other show that was on during that time?
Oh, they're both there.
They're both there. They're both there.
This
What was
is
that other?
Boss. That's Bailey. The baby.
What was that other show? The one that was like Muppets, but in like a wall, and there were Fraggle
Fraggle
Rock. Fraggle Rock.
I have a deck of
Ding-ding-ding-ding.
Fraggle Rock too.
Yes.
It was a Art of Play deck, but it was Fraggle Rock. It was great. Beautiful deck. I got it
That's a good
on my
one.
bachelor party during my bachelor party.
Interesting.
Lame.
Interesting.
That's how I roll.
Interesting. Well, on that note, guys, we're gonna say adieu, goodbye. We'll see you guys on the next one. And Daryn, thank you again for this, man.
Thanks for having me, guys. This is fun.
Later.